Hello everyone, welcome back to the Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition, or what it seems to be is the actual Stanley Parable 2. I feel like I'm being lied to right now, but we'll find out. Begin game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job.
Okay, computer screen seems different.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay then. Oh, alright. So far the very noticeable changes is they have balloons.
Gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh, what the? Okay, that's new. Bucket!
Stanley picked up the bucket.
This is Bucky Buckster. I love my bucket. No new content? Okay.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
No! Okay, just this once. Right, so...
Still no one was here.
Hello?
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Guess we
Coming to
can
a
head up
staircase,
there.
Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Nice office.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indicator, if not for... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
The bucket told me
him?
everything.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Bucket. Bucket, 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 bucket. I love my
The
bucket.
elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Thank you. Bucket guards me from all. This just seems new.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Okay. So, does the bucket change
The
anything?
lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
This bucket has feelings too.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a
okay,
bucket want
Bucky.
to do or not want to do in
Bucky the
first
bucket.
place? These questions raised
I
furiously
will
in
not let
Stanley's
you.
feeble mind.
I will not let you cry.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Or Bucky Bucket.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends,
Alrighty,
Stanley
Bucky
and the
Bucket.
bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Let's do it. Ha! Bucky the Bucket. Rules.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over?
It's over.
Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth.
Yes!
Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie,
Spread the COVID.
but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and... What? Wait. What was happening?
But
Why had the
Bucket.
door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in
No!
uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket.
No, please!
Go to any lengths not
No!
to the bucket. No.
The Bucket.
Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
I don't. No, I'm breaking out of this
All of his co-workers
damn
were gone.
prison.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Grabbing my
Stanley
bucket.
lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
You're right, Bucket. You know
Stanley
what?
clutched the
We're
bucket
taking-
tightly to his chest and
We're
entered the
taking
door
back the
left.
power in this facility. We're marching straight up there.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever.
Narrator,
Perhaps
shut
his
up.
boss's office was where he'd coming to a staircase. Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this
It's
is
me
certainly his
in.
logical explanation. or content. Walking, eating, working, all
All
of it
right, here we
monitored and
go. You
commanded
ready,
from this
Bucket?
very place.
We're taking this
As the
facility
cruel
out.
reality of his past
They're
began to
holding
sink
you
in,
back.
Stanley
I'm
decided
setting
that
you
this
free.
machinery- But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen.
Oh,
Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
okay. Flybirds. Oh, that's adorable.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise
All right,
its true
Bucky.
intentions.
You do
Had the
this
Bucket known this all
all along.
Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the Bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best.
Penguins.
And Stanley was happy.
All right. Well, this is my life now. See ya. Okay, things have changed. Nope.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed it. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Thank you, Bucket. Bucky Bucket. Ah! Nope. I don't wanna.
Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket.
Well, we got the whiteboard ending. That's pretty cool. All right, Bucky. Let's get our asses over there.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that
It
the
goes
employee
to
lounge
us.
was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room?
Do you like
Yes,
this?
Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Going this way.
Said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the
Wait,
bucket.
wait. Hold
now
up.
ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact.
It's a
He was
collectible.
firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go
Okay.
into this dark room over here.
All right, Bucky. Don't
Stanley
yell
once
at
again
me.
Obeyed blindly.
No. No, 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 no.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders?
I
Stanley,
did.
I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke?
Did
Should I have paused for longer?
Yes.
Or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. but there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
What is comedic timing?
Okay.
What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I don't think that's how it works. But okay. What do I know?
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and men.
Oh, it's the Mantis Men from Portal 2.
To give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and
Go
their
get 'em,
children
boys.
after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Oh, Earth always reigns supreme.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
All right. I got you, buddy.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The bucket spoke to Stanley.
I want to talk to Joe Rogan
bucket
about
The
comedy.
bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Right, heading back to the two doors now. And we are back.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
All right.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley?
I listened to you.
Here we go. You ready?
Oh my
When
goodness.
Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors. They entered the door on the left.
Right. Okay. Whoa!
We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off.
Oh, you
Joke will never
suck.
land. Well, not the way it was meant
Dinkleberries.
to. And it's all my
Worst
fault.
comedian
I must
ever.
have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket?
I want to blow my own brains out listening to this.
I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again.
No.
More instructional videos. Let's see.
Sorry, buddy. You're a failed comedian. Anyway.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Okay, we're gonna go right.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
I
Stanley
know
took the door on his
exactly.
left to go back, and so the 2 of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Alright, going down.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Oh. Hey. This is freaky, but, very
You
cool.
see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because
Broom Closet.
that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Alright, following the adventure line. Do you have the music?
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Yes, please.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this.
Okay,
But if we
for the
want
fans.
to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
What am I giving up?
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Ah.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
I don't wanna.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters?
Well,
you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its
I
desire
don't
to
wanna.
crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic
No,
Stanley
I will
Parable
not
characters
betray
like
my
the
friend.
Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give
No.
the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Oh! My eyes.
The Bucket Destroyer. A prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. This is such a fun game. Yeah, the bucket. Oh, we have
All of his
peppers.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Why are there so many papers?
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Rid of the bucket.
Right.
That's why I'm
we'll
very
get
proud
rid of
to
the
introduce
bucket.
a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Start her up.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
I agree.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows.
I'm trying to give it the
That is
bucket.
its singular personality trait.
Actually,
Sure, I can hear
legitimately
you
can't
saying,
give it the
how does
bucket.
a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the bucket destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality
Please
traits.
strap the
What
bucket
other
in.
object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of bucket destroyer merchandise the fans will
Oh,
be
please
clamoring
let me
for
out
after
of here.
this. Okay, the bucket destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable
It's
characters
their
like
way.
the Adventure
Just shut
Line
this
or the
off.
bucket destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
I tried so hard, but got so far, and in the end, it didn't even matter. Ha ha ha.
The bucket destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent. Alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley
So
chose
before we
not
do
to
the
think about
scaffolding,
his
let's go
helpless
pick up the
fan.
phone
He
with
was
the
firmly
bucket.
convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the...
Picked it up.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Okay. Oh. Hey. Hello, Stanley. It's me, your bucket. Press G to take me to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
I love this bucket. Take me back home with you. Of course.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Bucket. Jay, back to work.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket.
No.
It can't think. It can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it.
This is not
it doesn't
true.
do anything
It's
else.
my true love.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket.
My
this
bucket.
stupid hunk of metal.
You to ignore anyone in your life except for me. Of course.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket.
It fulfills me.
Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley?
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid.
Gee,
Like
now
it would
you're
be better at
seeing
moving
it.
an amount of water from one room to another.
Be to relieve the same day with me. Over and over. Yes!
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
It's not a regular bucket. I'm to go home. To work home. To work home. To work home.
Oh no. I'm having feelings. for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket?
Whoa.
Hear what the bucket has to say. Do
Hey
anything
there.
it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give
No.
it to me. Give me the bucket,
Never.
Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give
Close
it
your
or-
eyes. Is it over? Bucky Bucket. Go back to work, Stanley. No. My bucket. My bucket is back. But before we do that, I have to close out this episode here. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this series. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more of this in the future, please give it a subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one. And I think next episode's going to be the final one. Anyway, goodbye.